What's good, creatives? I am Nina Shine, your host. Welcome to the Symphony Pod from the Symphony Studio, where we dive into the world of comics, animation, illustration, interesting stories from the guests we will be having on the show today. This person is a very influential one, knowledgeable at its finest. So I would suggest you, not even suggest, I'm advising you now to get your book, your pen, your jotter, anything you can use to get the whole information and the knowledgeable details that will be shared on the show today. Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome with me, Tifix, aka Anthony Omoru.
Thank you for having me today.
You look good. Brand designer. What is branding?
Okay, so I would like to start from Jeff Bezos' definition of what branding is. It's what somebody says about you when I'm not in the room. And the general definition of branding is a person's gut feeling about you. Is a person's gut feeling about maybe a team, a person, or a business. But I like to define branding as a reputation. So it's basically the personality that a particular business or like a particular person has, or like a particular person have built online or built over a particular period of time, something like that. So just basically a reputation that a business or a person has. Basically. And so trying to like make it more practical. When you think Apple, you think luxury, you think class, all this kind of. So Apple sells like more of lifestyle because people want to now associate with the idea of Apple. Yes, which is actually a good thing as a brand designer. It's actually a really good thing. So but of course, their products are good, but then they sell more of like the lifestyle that comes with it. And so, like if you now think of maybe strength, you think of German related cars, or then in terms of like tech and hardware and stuff. There was a time when Toshiba was very popular because Toshiba stuff were always very strong.
Yeah.
That is, and when HDD hard drives were still like the hot thing. We had Toshiba hard drives everywhere, but then people trusted Toshiba because of the brand that they built, which is strength or durability. Yeah.
You know, on a normal day, there's how you speak about Apple product, but I can see Eugene nodding his head like in a very like, yeah. You have no option at this point.
I don't want to say I'm not for Apple. I'm for Samsung. Let me put it out there. I'm for Samsung.
Use a Redmi.
Well. I'm for Samsung, I think.
That's cool. Take us through your process of brand designing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my process designing. So I'm not going to talk about when I have like a client. Okay. Let me answer it from working with a fictional client, for instance. So it's basically I do a lot of research in my brand design process, and then the brand design process is very fluid. But there are particular things that are always constant all through. So first of all, let's say like a random client now reach out to me, like I have a business, blah blah. I want to create. Normally, they'll say I want to create a logo for my business. Just few of them are like I want to build a brand. So they'll be like I want to create a logo for my business, and normally, as a professional. At that point, you want to have conversations with them. So I'll have like a short conversation, first of all, on like the chat. I'll be like, you tell me a little bit about your business, like what do you do? Maybe if it's edtech, or just so that I kind of understand what I'm going to.
Yeah.
And then I'll fix what I call, or what we call a brand discovery call. So a brand discovery call is a call where we, as the name implies, where we like discover the brand. Because most people don't really know what a brand is. Like on that call, we like tell them what a brand is, and then we like go to a particular brand brief. So on that brand brief, have things like what's your brand name, what's like your vision, your mission, what are like your target audience. Because again, if you are building a brand, you need to I think I'll start using say reputation or like a personality. Because that way it kind of puts it more in context. So if you are building a personality for a business, you need to know who this business is for. So build those to build that personality to suit that particular audience. So during the brand discovery call, we have conversations about what the business is and what the business should look like. Because again, trying to create a brand, people will see and then feel the brand. Like what it should look like, what it should feel like, the emotions and all those things that the brand discovery call entails, basically. Then after that one, after I like take all the answers from there, or let's say the results I get from that particular call now, I'm not going to research and start looking for a way to implement this. And then after that one, I'll go to my PC, try to create stuff, and then go back to research again. I'll just keep, so at that point now it's more fluid. I'll keep going from my PC to research, my PC to research, like that, like that, like that. So those things are kind of the constant things. So depending on the problem we're trying to solve, the process might change. So yeah.
One of our audience here reached out with a particular question, so I'm going to read it out to you. The question goes, what's the most crucial part of the process that you think other designers often overlook?
Okay, so I'll say research, but then other designers in this context now would be like newbies to the field, because the professionals already know that research in brand design is compulsory. So I'll say some people tend to kind of focus more on like the creating the logo or the aesthetics part, and then tend to now ignore the functionality part. And the functionality part comes from research, because they're trying to research how functional this brand will be. How, because again, every business that is trying to build a brand would always want to drive sales. I mean, the reason why businesses have been built in the first place is to drive sales. It's for income, you get. So they always want to drive sales. So I'll say some people tend to want to ignore the research part, which is very important. Then they just want to focus more on aesthetics.
Yeah.
And it's kind of normal amongst creative to want it to be fine, or to want it to have that aesthetics quality. And then in that process, you tend to now downplay the part of research for functionality. I don't know if I'm making sense.
You're making sense. Yeah, because I can still relate, not from my experience though. I mean, you made mention of creative, so other people experience, they're not focused on the structure. They just want something that is aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
Like as simple as that. Yeah.
They focus more on.
So this man beside me has been dropping valuable information. I'll tell you again, get your notepad. If you're to get your notepad and your pen ready to jot. Thank you so much. The next one says, this crucial step now, why is it so important and necessary? Because some people will be like, it's not really necessary. It's not really necessary, but why do you think it's important?
Okay, so it's more like, why is research necessary? Okay, so we don't really know the problems we're trying to solve unless we kind of look into them. So more like doing research now in brand design context is kind of like taking the brief that you handed over from the brand discovery corner, taking that brief and then trying to understand how to implement this brief. So every brand comes with a particular problem. Even though it's a startup, even though it's wherever, but most of the time, the problems are always trying to connect to that particular audience. So like in this research phase now, trying to ask yourself, how can I connect to this audience? How can I do that? There's this, I think, all these supercars, cars like Bugatti, I think Ferrari too. You can, should I say never? You'll never see them like on the road being sold, because you know where their target audience are. So it's more like they've carved out a particular sector of people and be like, okay, these are the people who want to sell to. I think it's either Bugatti or Ferrari, one of them. You know, to like have the car, you need to have like a particular social status to even buy the car in the first place. So all those things are like kind of part of the brand that I'm trying to create. So I'm very sure like the brand designers, though, for them to even know, for them to like have a particular niche, means they've like done research to know who in this particular kind of circle. Do you understand? So like why research is really important in the whole design process is because again, like I said before, that brands are built for function. They're built to solve a particular problem. And in order to like define or find a way to actually solve this problem, you need to research about the problem. It's more like I need to become very acquainted with this problem to even find a solution for the problem in the first place. So how do you start trying to solve a problem that you don't even know about?
Yeah.
So this is why some designers tend to have very fine designs that are torn down, because there is this gap that happens between designers and clients. The clients are looking for money, like wants particular kind of output from the design. But the designer is trying to maybe tell us one very mad new design idea. That's like maybe I just one kind of new design skill or try something like that. So the designers tend to now prioritize the aesthetics part over the functionality. And most times it's because they don't really do that research. You get? So that's why sometimes you see some UI designs now. that are very amazing, very dramatic, very like the animations that are really mad. But you hardly see businesses that adopt those kind of designs because in the real sense, making them functional or making all those animations load means the site will become very slow to load, which will now affect the business. Do you understand? So those things now, but then designers will now want to do those kind of things. But the clients don't want to agree because to affect their business. It's more like designer is seeing from the point of design, and client are seeing from the point of their business or income. There's no common ground. So, but like when you do your research well, you will get to understand that okay, I'm working with a business, and this business is after profit. So you make your decisions in that line in order to kind of help them solve their problem. Because again, design is primarily problem solving, no matter how small it is. Design is primarily, I don't know I'm pronouncing this word wrong.
Primarily.
I don't have the R tongue. Primarily. Okay, primarily. Design is primary. Design is primarily problem solving.
What brand designers out there inspires you, and what specific aspects of their works resonates with you?
Okay, so there are a lot of brand designers out there that actually inspire me, like a lot of them. But I'll say three that comes to my mind now. So the first one is Chris. So the second one is First World Canvas. So First World Canvas is a design agency based in Nigeria. I think it's owned by Uncle Fa. I don't know his full name, but everybody knows him as Uncle Fa.
Okay.
Yeah, Uncle Fa. Yeah. And then the third one is CAV. CAV she's a female designer. So for Chris kinds of talk about the non-design part of design. It's more like the business part of design. So listening to him, and I got to understand that this is just talking about just now how that clients tend to see things from the points of income. Why designers want to design. So it kind of tell you that okay, I'm working with somebody that is trying to solve a particular problem. So in my design processes, and like no matter how creative I become, I should make sure I help the person actually solve his problem. So you kind of talk about the business of design. How to say it? It talks about the business of design. It's kind of like handling clients, knowing how to all those stuff basically. So it's more like the theoretical part of design. So he's not really doing tutorials of maybe how to create this, how to create that, nothing like that. Just mainly conversations. It's very impactful. So then we have Uncle Fan now, that's from Photo Canvas. So I like Photo Canvas because their target audience now are both Nigerian, and then they have like a foreign audiences. Yeah, and they are more close to home, they're like more Nigerian. So I kind of like connect with their design process better. So like at that point I can now feel like okay, this person have worked with different Nigerian brands. And you know, building brands in different location matters because again you're dealing with different target audiences. So they worked with a target audience I'm more familiar with. So hearing them talk and like seeing how they do their things or seeing their designs kinds of inspire me to work. I got like a lot of inspiration from them. I've listened to like some of their podcasts maybe on YouTube or stuff like that. And then we have CAV. So I kind of resonate more with CAV because she does African related style of content, and then she majors on neo brutalism. Neo brutalism. So neo brutalism is kind of is a style of design that let me first talk about what brutalism is before I go to neo brutalism. So brutalism is a style of design now, and this is beyond just brand design. It goes down to architecture. It goes down to any form of design, basically any form of art too, generally. So they kind of go from the non-conventional. So in terms of graphic design now, there's some brutalist designs where they intentionally break all the rules of design, like they break everything. But then the components still kind of work together. So like to come out as something appealing, and sometimes most of your problem. Then for architecture, it just makes the building look very different. It makes it look very unique. It makes it look gives like a different kind of feel. So, but then the idea of neo brutalism now is kind of like it's kind of going against the idea of minimalist design. So, like trying to make your fonts very big, trying to use very very vibrant colors. Yet, so it's kind of still adopting brutalism, but then in a new way. Basically. But I'm not saying neo means new. Yes. So and yeah, so she does African related content or kind of branding. And she do, at least that I've seen, maybe like behind the scenes she does more stuff like other stuff. but at least her brand is built around creating African related content. Get, and it's kind of very inspiring because you get to see somebody that's taking the normal Nigerian arts, or okay, she's Igbo now. Let me use something more no, not indigenous. Something I can explain to you it's better. She's Igbo by tribe, and then she takes this Igbo, this Igbo attire, this pattern, Igbo wrap pattern. Then she like uses it for different designs. She even uses it in a neo brutalism for corporate designs, and then it still goes well. You understand? So sometimes she like takes different wrapper textures and then use them to design. You understand? So that creativity is something. Yeah.
So, how do you translate abstract brand values into tangible visual elements?
For me, I'll say I'll get those particular emotion sets first of all, and then I'll look for different images that kind of matches that particular emotion. When I was starting out as a brand designer, if I'm like working on a particular product or maybe a brand or something, and maybe I was supposed to work on the sunshine logo, I'll ask my sisters, I'll ask my friends, if you like think of the sunshine, what first comes to your mind? If you think of joy, what image first comes to your mind? If you think of this, what first comes to your mind? Get? So that way, whatever image you give me, I'll take that particular picture now. You find a way I can create that image, keeping it simple, keeping it memorable, and then making it unforgettable. You understand? So you just take that particular emotion, find a way to incorporate it into an icon. Yes. So that's why sometimes you see some very abstract logos, but then it means something to the business. Get?
Thank you very much for that deep insights. It's like mind blowing. We got a question from one of our audience again. Let me read it out to you. So the question says, was there a time where your brand design shifted how people perceived a brand entirely? If yes, how?
Okay, so yes, there was this brand discovery call I was on the client, and then we're talking about like a brand that is the brand was trying to build. Was trying to build a business around the edutech space. So it's educational technology. So and then we're talking, and then halfway in the conversation, he now realized that actually he did not really have everything for the business planned out. So like he did not really know exactly what kind of people he was targeting. So it's more like he had an idea that have been validated to an extent, but then he did not have like some particular stuff fleshed out. So in that brand discovery call, I started explaining to him what a brand is, what a brand is not, and like how he should go about marketing this particular brand. And then I like helped him carve out his target audience well, and then how to actually reach them. Get? So after all those conversations, he now sat back and like, okay, you know what? Let's push this project by like a week. Let me think about these things. So so I kind of shaped his journey towards building the edutech business, and he still exists now. So afterwards, we like did the whole brand design, blah blah, and we went to. So I'll say that was one of the scenarios.
Quick question, out of curiosity, is there like an aside pay for the extra information during the brand discovery call?
So this one now is more of like business strategies. So you can choose to charge. So normally we're supposed to actually charge them for that kind of call because we're kind of educating them and then we're like giving them tips on how to do it. But for me, I tend to want to educate them for free.
Oh, you do it for free?
Yeah, I do it for free.
Well,
at least
you're worthy.
For some for like some people I do it for free. Yes, because especially when especially when I really believe in what they're trying to build. I kind of like so I'm like, okay, what you're thinking about might not be really correct. Let's see it from this particular way instead. Let's do it like this, let's do it like that. So at that point it's more educative. But I kind of enjoy the process. So sometimes I do for free, sometimes I charge. But they're supposed to be charged for it.
Okay. So what's a brand design myth you found out to be wrong?
Okay, so a brand design myth I found out to be, again, to be for people that are not really educated in the brand design space is that the logo is the brand. So it does not. The logo is part of the brand, but it is not the brand. The logo is part of the brand, but it's not the brand because the brand is more of like it's more like a sum total of everything that you think about a particular business. So when you think of Apple, what comes to your mind is Apple logo. So let's put it in this context. Imagine a brand to be a human being, yeah, and let me use Apple again for instance, because Apple just does branding very well. Yeah, so let me use Apple for an instance.
The fact that Eugene is just flexing on you.
So let me use Apple for instance. When you think of, so imagine Apple to be a human being. When you think of Apple, you think beauty. So assuming Apple was a human being, that means Apple is very pretty. Just assume Apple now is a girl. Apple is very pretty. Apple is luxurious, so it means Apple has money basically. Apple is should I say functional? Yeah, yes, let's say functional. So Apple is functional. So Apple is functional. You get, so it just means maybe Apple does the work well. Yeah. So all this is now will be like the characteristics of Apple being a human being there. But then we need a face to attach to this human being now. That's where the logo comes in. You understand? So the logo is just the face of the brand. The logo is just the face. So we have like we have the okay, let me categorize it in this way just for like better understanding. So we have like the visual elements of the brand and then like the non-visual elements. The non-visual elements are things like the trust, how they've like built particular emotions for you to, for of themselves to you. So like you now trust this brand because you feel like it's doable. You trust this brand because you feel like they always deliver all those kind of things. So you cannot really see it, but then they are kind of like emotional impacts that Apple have placed on us. Get, but like the visual parts now, we now have the colors, we have the logo, we have their fonts. If you notice, MTN uses a particular kind of fonts.
Yeah.
We have the fonts, we have what again, Seth? Those ones basically.
Oh.
They're like the most popular ones. We have the color of the font. So the logo is just the face. It's not the brand. Just the face. Yeah.
Can you say smoke? It's like knowledge in our water. Quick one. Popular modern design trend or timelessness in brand design?
Okay, so I'll say both.
Why?
Because there are different times. Okay, I'm seeing it more from like brand design long term actually. So at some point when you have to involve or include some kind of modern design trend, and there's sometimes when you have to stick to the timeless stuff that we do. So just to explain, this new iOS 26, this 26 now 28, I be 26 updates. This new iOS 26 updates with the liquid. How will I forget all this stuff? Liquid glass and UI design. Yeah, it's actually a somewhat modern trend. It's not a timeless trend. If it's timeless, it means it's been existing for a very long time.
Yeah.
Up to this point. But then they like included this into their brand, hoping to like make it timeless now, to like make it long term. You get, so like the few times when like the trends and in the design space, it has actually been trending for a while in design space because I think sometime this year Figma released like a new feature where you can create that liquid glass effect easily. And then before then, there were like different glimpses of liquid glass designs here and there. That's like in the design space now.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a trend in the design space. And then Apple now incorporated it because it saw like long-term value in it. You understand? And in terms of marketing, there's sometimes when you have to hop on so like the existing trend because the particular audience they are trying to reach out to kind of resonates with that trend. So in order to resonate with them now, you have to come to a means that they kind of are familiar with. This is where those trends now coming. So for like long-term goals or long-term view, there's sometimes when you have to adopt those modern trends in order to maybe market the business or something like that. But then for the part of being timeless, it's being sincere with a particular kind of design or with a particular kind of design style. So we see like different phone brands. I like using phone brands because I don't know.
It's like relatable.
It's very relatable, yeah. So you if you see any design from the iOS ecosystem, you know, because they have a particular kind of design that is timeless for them, and then they've been using it for a very long time, and they've like built their brand around those stuff. If you see Android related icons, Android related designs, you know. If you see Windows related stuff, you know, because of the particular timeless design styles that they have. Yeah, so timelessness now in this sense is like staying true with a particular design style for a very long time. You get, so timelessness is nice in this context.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Looking forward now, how do you think the brand design industry, if that's the right word, is going to evolve?
Okay, so with the ever growing internet space, I feel like there'll be a point when to exist online, you need to have a brand. In fact, now if you have like an online presence, you already have a brand. Because again, the brand is not really about what you are doing. It's more about what people are thinking about you. You understand? So it's more like the reputation that you have in people's mind. That is the brand. So everything you are doing, maybe choosing particular colors, maybe creating like I don't know, maybe doing the new iPhone 28 or something, and like trying to give out particular kind of feelings. Again, it's just trying to create an emotion or like a particular reputation in the minds of people. So maybe Apple. How am I using Apple too much? I'm not using Apple.
It's relatable. Use it. Use Apple. Use it.
I don't know, but
You want to use Samsung?
Samsung. There's many I can try to talk about Samsung.
Use Apple. Apple is very relatable.
So again, in the future now, I feel like everybody would kind of start branding themselves up. I don't so. I'm thinking of a way to put it because at this point, if you already have a particular kind of reputation online, you already have a brand.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't have a logo. Because sometimes people tend to mistake it and feel like if you don't have a logo, you don't have a brand yet. Which is false because again, so far as I think something about your business in my head, it means you already have a brand. Yet. So in the future, I think people will adopt more of branding. You can also see like in religious spaces, pastors are already creating brands for themselves. You see that in literally every space now. Everybody like start having to brand themselves up officially. Let me use that word. They have to start branding themselves up officially. Maybe now be like, okay, I am this, I am this, I am that, and then you stay to it. So,
That's cool. What's one advice you would give to your younger self starting in the business of brand design?
okay, so I'll tell myself years ago to associate more with designers, to go for tech events, to hang out more with designers, to stay in spaces where designers exist. Yeah.
If you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, do that and ensure to follow us on our social media handles. My head is hot at this point. I'm like, I need a bottle of water. You've given a lot, man. Thank you for coming on the show.
For having me.
Wow. Oh, more thanks for coming. See, man, don't fool. Let's say one part. See you on the next one. Bye.